Hello guys, and welcome to a new Wargame video today by me, Vulcan. Today I am playing on the pack side on a 3v3 on Trondheim, and today I'm playing with Omniside, Gemjeft, Vompo, Rout and Killer 2PL, which is also known as Mapcheck, who has played with me previously in my Wargame European Escalation gameplays. So today I've got something a bit different, just going to put it to my point of view. This is a very much going to be a learning game today. I'm going to just say it now, it's going to be a loss. And I know some of you guys don't like the spoilers, but it will allow me to basically go over a lot of things that led up to it. And if otherwise I'll be sitting at the end of the gameplay just talking about it to a blank screen, which kind of doesn't make sense. So hopefully you guys will appreciate that I am showing you this today, and it was a very, very fun game. So that's one reason I showed it. It was very, very action packed. It basically ended very quickly. We only started with about 600 points each at the start, and it was a 3,000 point, basically you had to get 3,000 points to win, which is about normal for a 3v3. We have 40 minutes on the clock to do so. But like I say, it was very action-packed, and it ended a little bit before that. So, anyway, let me just talk through our strategy. On our team, Omni decided to take Charlie and Delta, while Genjeft was taking the left at Alpha. My job was to defend the home sector with my BRDM2U, and that was supported by 2 Urals with Strellas. Now, one thing that I haven't seen a lot in Airland Battle is anyone trying to snipe CVs at home bases. Now, I'm not exactly sure why this is, because it was very prevalent in Wargame European Escalation. I don't know if it's just because the maps are so big, or maybe they're just not as easy to attack the home sector. Like, if you were to rush the home sector in this particular map, you would have to come across these 2 bridges, which isn't ideal. However, if you did it with air, then maybe you could get away with it. And there is a nice open stretch of water on the left side here that you could easily sneak a recon helicopter round and then bring in a air unit to fly around and destroy it. Either way, this is the first time that I'd played on this map, and I found it a very, very nice map. It provides a lot of tactical opportunities. You can see in Foxtrot you've got a towns either side of this long bridge. In Charlie and Elena, you've got 2 big clumps of forests over mountains, which are very, very awesome. And then at Chariton and Centre, you've got these resupply points which come through this tunnel, and then these nice cliffs to support the resupply from. Either way, you can see I've brought in 8 BTR-60 PAIs. These are with Motor Strelky in at the beginning. They're going to support Omni's push down the middle into Elena. I've also got this MI2. This is a very, very important part of my strategy. Let's just follow it down to where he's going to end up. Basically, this MI2 is the main recon for my entire force. At the start of the game, I'd already bought 4 MiG-21Ss, and as you can see, Genjeft also has one coming in at the back just over there. Now, the idea was that this this MI2 would get up to Gregory as quickly as possible, and then I'd be able to cluster bomb certain things in this area. You can see Genjeft with his MiG here is already going ahead and dropping cluster bombs in this area. Unfortunately, he doesn't hit anything because, surprisingly enough, they've already got a lot of units further up. You can see they're using Humvees on the enemy team, and they are very, very quick transport vehicles, so they do get up to the places quickly. And by flying over Elena and getting his MI2 shot down, he discovers that there is also a lot of infantry already there. So I've already got 3 MiGs coming in, and as soon as I spot anything, I just cluster bomb it straight away. So I decided to cluster bomb this. That gave me 40 points, and these 2 MiGs managed to get away safely. This MiG, however, doesn't, and does get shot down, but he goes straight into the ground over here, and you can see as he crashes, he takes out an Eyehawk. Now that was just awesome. I haven't actually seen that happen before this game, and when I did, I was like, the cluster bombs must have landed, but it was basically because he hadn't dropped his armament, and then got shot down with the armament on him, so he exploded when he hit the ground. Now here you can see the MI2 just got shot down by a couple of AA units in this area. So now I'm pressing my BTR 60 PAI squads up towards this hill. So they are fast moving up this road, and down this road come 4 Humvees. Now my BTRs easily take care of these. They all blow up very, very quickly, and I do drop out 4 motor Strelky squads to help with killing them. However, they didn't actually have any troops in them, surprisingly enough, so I rushed quickly to get my BTR 60 PAIs reloaded again. Now these 4 go straight ahead, straight up into the enemy. Now before I can even get one of the motor Strelky squads out, one of my BTRs gets destroyed, and they all end up with the same fate very, very quickly. These LVTPs 7A1s have grenade launchers and Browning machine guns, which are not very nice against my motor Strelky. And you can see they're already whittled down to 1 squad and with no time at all. Basically, these are just awesome vehicles. But unfortunately for him, they get cluster bombed very, very quickly after taking out my motor Strelky. Unfortunately, another recon helicopter goes down over here, and I basically drop out my motor Strelky, my second squads of motor Strelky, up onto this hill as quickly as possible, so that they don't suffer the same fate by going up this hill. I decide to leave my BTR 60 PAIs at the bottom of the hill by the road, so that they can attack anything that comes down, like more Humvees. But I did manage to take down a Black Hawk here with cluster bombs. It looks like the explosion came out underneath it and managed to take that down. Now I didn't realise you could do that before that time, so later on you'll see me try to do it again. But in the meantime, on the right, Omniside's called for help on Fedor. So that is my next port of call, and you can see exactly what I do. I bring in 8 squads of motor Strelky to help out, and they're hopefully going to just push straight over this bridge and secure the other side with the help of these Strellas and these Conkers. So with that done, I have got to basically now just help with the pushes around the map, and then provide my air support where I can. You can see over here that they've spotted a couple of Royal Marines that have snuck all the way up to the middle of centre, but fortunately Genjet and Omniside have VDB and motor Strelky on the case. Meanwhile, on the right here, you can see as my BTR 60 PAIs arrive, we bump into some Royal Marines. Now, what I didn't do properly, because I was focusing so heavily on MiGs at this point, shooting down various things across the map here with these cluster bombs, I kind of neglected to unload my BTR 60 PAIs, and therefore lost 3 squads of motor Strelky, or 4 squads of motor Strelky, before I even unloaded them. And because of where I unloaded them, they didn't do anything. You can see the Royal Marines are in these front houses. The Royal Marines are here in this wooden house, and they're over here in this greenhouse. So my motor Strelky at the back here aren't doing very much damage. These motor Strelky, I believe, can shoot at these ones, but these 3 squads back here aren't providing the fire support I need to help with these Conquer squads. So once the Conquer squads get out and they help kill these Royal Marines, they're left to deal with the other Royal Marines on the left on their own, and Conquers aren't very good infantry versus infantry units. So unfortunately, I lose all of my Conquer squads just to 1 squad of Royal Marines, which is not very nice. And in the meantime, Routes come in and dropped napalm on this bridge, which wasn't helpful either, and did kill 3 of my Strela squads. Now in the meantime, my motor Strelky that ran over this hill from the left have bumped into some assault engineers. Now assault engineers were the bane of my life in this game. They come with napalm rockets, and you can see they just absolutely annihilated my motor Strelky squad there with them. Now, just to hurt me even more, Route brings in another Corsair and napalms this area just here. Now what this does is it forces this motor Strelky squad out of this building. I managed to keep these Motorstrelki in because they're all in the left side buildings, and they provide fire support against these stormers. In the meantime, I managed to get a cluster bomb strike to come in on these AMX-13 harpoons, and the battle continues with these flames roaring in the background here. Unfortunately, because they have the fire support of this tank, this pattern up on the hill, they eventually whittle down my forces in this area and knock me out. But I'm trying to do as much damage as I can, so I bring in another cluster bomb strike here, trying to take out these Humvees. Unfortunately, there wasn't any troops in them, they'd already been unloaded. I bring in another strike here to try and stun this pattern, but it doesn't work. And here, what I was talking about earlier, I bring in a cluster strike to try and take down this Cobra. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out because he moved it just as I did the fire position order. So either way, you can see these Motorstrelki are dying very, very quickly now against these SISUs, APCs, with the help of the Stormers. But I'm not liking the look of those, so what do? I bring in some more jets to take them out. Just watch this beautiful thing come in and drop his payload by my troops. Now this MiG is specifically going for this Eyehawk. Now the really good thing about this deck is you can use planes against anti-air, and you can see here that Eyehawk doesn't stand a chance, and it allows my other MiGs to come in and cluster bomb these APCs down here. I've also got another cluster bomb coming in to destroy these resupply vehicles, and that gives me 30 points. Each of those MiGs are worth 45 points, so any points that I do get with them are worth it, no matter whether they die or not, which is really, really good. It's one of the best things about those planes. However, what I didn't do in this game was I didn't transition quickly enough to these T-72s. So basically, I've been bringing in air units this entire game. And what has that forced the enemy to do? Well, it's forced them to bring in a lot of anti-air. And I'm still focusing a lot on the air at this point. I'm thinking, oh, I'll bring in a few T-72s and a few BTRs with Motorstrelki, and I'll push over towards Chariton. Then I'll be able to bring in my MiGs again to blow up whatever it needs to be blown up. But what I didn't anticipate was how much infantry AA the enemy would have. Now, cluster bombs are absolutely useless against infantry. Yes, they can stun them, but it's not half as effective as napalm. Unfortunately, I didn't have any napalm on my deck at this point, but what I didn't really realise was that I should have brought in way more T-72s on the first push across the bridge. I should have waited, and I should have brought in more, because these T-72s really helped out against these assault engineers in this position. My Motorstrelki come across this bridge and they get ambushed by assault engineers. I bring in some MiGs to help me suppress the enemies in these buildings, and then continue to push forwards with my T-72s. Now, what was really good about these T-72s is that they can't be affected by the napalm shells, and they have decent front armor, so they can just drive straight through this town providing fire support, and they won't take much damage at all from the napalm rockets. It's these Motorstrelki that are really going to suffer, and you can see I've already lost about 3 squads there. So they're sitting on flames at the moment, and I'm trying to get them out of there, pushing them towards these assault engineers as best I can with the help of these T-72s, which are constantly stunned by the flames. But as soon as I get them through, they are absolutely fine. But what would have been good is if I actually had more of them. They're very cheap. T-72s are only worth 40 points each, and they have amazing front armor. If I just show you, they have 11 front armor and they cost 40 points. But here, unfortunately, Route's already prepared for this push, and this is what I mean about adapting quicker. Basically, Route was prepared for my secondary push over this bridge, and you can see here the Seahawk just absolutely annihilated my T-72s. So what I should have done the first time over was bring over the T-72s with them and more of them, and then I would have been able to push all the way up to Chariton, and he wouldn't have had the defences there that he needed to take me out. So that was the biggest problem here. Unfortunately, my MiG decides to completely miss these AMX 13 harpoons, so that didn't really end very well, and this T-72 just sits here trying his best to fire back, but is just panicked so much. Meanwhile, on the left, Omnicide is still trying to push into this position with the help of his BMP 1Ps and Motostrelki flooding across this hill. You can see he's got a lot of squads. 16 squads of Motostrelki there. A lot of men indeed. Now over here you can see one of my MiGs get shot down while trying to take out this chaparral. Does succeed, but there's another chaparral over here which does one-shot my MiG down, unfortunately. So basically at this point I should have stopped completely with my air support unless I knew for certain that there wasn't any left in the particular area. But what I also lacked on is recon. Now in my last replay I really went over recon. I had rangers everywhere, and I did have recon on the left over here, which I'm just bringing in now. But basically what I needed to do was bring in some heavy sort of, not really heavy recon, but recon that can basically stay alive. I needed like a BRM 1, for instance, the same thing that Omnicide's got here. I could have done with one of these to support my tanks, because then I would have had the information I need when I push up onto this hill, and you can see soon enough what exactly happens when I don't have that information. Unfortunately, they still haven't fixed this graphical glitch with the bridges. You see, they seem to drive through them. Hopefully this will be fixed by the time the actual game comes out. But either way, my T-72s arrive and they get over here. Unfortunately, another plane gets shot down here, another MiG, and my T-72s get into range to take out this M60. Now they're not panicked, that's dead meat. And in the meantime, I'm still bringing in more MiGs, like I said I shouldn't have been doing, over this area. This MiG's going all the way up to the back here to try and take out this AA, which it does manage to do, so that is kind of worth it. I did gain 5 points there, but unfortunately the MiG still got shot down. So I was losing way too many MiGs in such a short time. You can see the enemies actually winning 2,140 points to 1,870 points at this time, and I've managed to bring in some conkers on the right here to support these Motostrelki covering the other side of the bridge at Fedor, which allows us to capture that sector. Now, Genjeff's deciding to make a move onto Elena at this point, so he's started to bring in some T-55s up the left side here. In the meantime, I'm pushing up onto the right side into Chariton. But as soon as I start to peek over this hill with these T-72s, HGMs just come out of these forest completely and annihilate that entire squad of T-72s, and he nearly takes out some T-55s as well, but fortunately they get behind this cliff before any of them actually hit. But this is like an awesome position for HGMs. I never really thought about doing this before, but to counter it I decided to bring in some Mi-8Ts with Spetsnaz. Now at the time I was a bit wary of bringing these in, because obviously I've been using MiGs the entire game, but I thought, well, they're helicopters, they're not going to get targeted by any long range AA because they're going to be too low. I was very much mistaken. Basically, you'll see what happens. I bring in 4 MiGs to attack Chariton. These are to stun all of the units along this front line here. Unfortunately, what I do is completely miss all of them. All of the AA gets completely missed, and it really sucks, because as soon as these Mi-8Ts get into range, boom, 2 of them go down. As they crash, my Spetsnaz get launched out. A tank shell hits that Spetsnaz squad straight in the face. I'm emergency landing these Mi-8Ts, but before they even touch the ground, these 2 Spetsnaz squads get blown up as well, but fortunately survive. You can see they're crouched down on the ground here, like, oh my god, what just happened? And Yeah, I decided to run them away as quickly as possible, but you can see just how fail that was. These Mi-8Ts cost about 30 points each, I believe, and the Spetsnaz squad costs 30 points as well. So basically I lost 120 points here alone, and another 60 points here just by losing those Mi-8Ts. It was probably one of the biggest mistakes I made in this entire game. And like I said before, it's because I've been using MIGs the entire game. The enemy's already brought in a ton of AA, and I didn't anticipate it at all when I brought in those Mi-8Ts, and it was a massive mistake, and it really did damage us in this position, because we are behind now by almost 600 points. But fortunately, Genjeft is pushing up now with his T-55As and Motorstrelki onto these Delta Force and HGM Dragons. He absolutely annihilates this left flank, and it's a pretty awesome sight. Just look at this, so many T-55s and Motorstrelki. It's like the perfect push up that hill. That is the best way to use T-55s and T-72s. If you just push them over the crest of a ridge and you know that they've got loads of troops up there, you're going to have a whale of a time. And all of these tanks just absolutely destroy everything that they come into contact with. Now meantime on the right, it's my turn to do some damage. So I've got a BRDM2 leading into Jot. Unfortunately that gets sniped and I lose all of my sight on the right there. In the meantime, Rout's brought in his Corsair again to slow down the right flank of Genjet's push, and unfortunately with this T-80A, I believe, getting absolutely owned along with some other troops on the left here, we unfortunately lose the battle before my T-55s even arrive on the right side. But you can see here, it was a pretty awesome game. Lots of stuff went on, and I really enjoyed this one, and I hope you guys did too. I know it's a loss, and I know I don't normally show losses, but I felt this one was needed because you shouldn't get overconfident with your own strategy. That's probably the biggest point of this. I know that this can beat anyone 1v1, this strategy. Well, I say anyone. Obviously there are counters. If somebody played against me and they knew that I was using that particular deck, then they could just spam out AA and I would die. But the point is, it's a very strong 1v1 deck. And in 10v10 it works very well as well. I showed you that in the last video. But in 3v3 and 4v4, where things are a little bit more coordinated, you can see just how bringing in a few more AA units can really stunt that strategy. Because even though I could bomb out his Chaparrals and his Eyehawks, as soon as he brought in AA infantry, which the cluster bombs are completely ineffective against, there wasn't anything I could do. And I should have stopped bringing in MiGs completely, but I didn't. And you can see my losses in this battle were 1,439. That's insanely bad on the 3v3. That's like half the points that they needed I gave them. Kills wise, I got 1,060. It's not too bad. Like, that's the most on our team, but it doesn't really justify the amount of losses I gave the enemy. So in a lot of ways I'm sorry to the people on my team that we lost, but it was a pretty awesome game nonetheless, and hopefully you guys learned a lot from watching this. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.